The cookie jar mentality. Every person carries a hidden vault of past victories they've forgotten how to open. When the body screams to stop, when the mind begs for mercy, champions don't reach for motivation. They reach backward into memory and pull out proof. Proof that they've survived worse. Proof that they didn't die the last time it hurt this bad. This is not positive thinking. It's evidence-based survival. Most people let their hardest moments rot in the past, untouched, as if pain has no further use once it's over. But pain has a second life, as ammunition. The trick is to actually catalog these moments. The day you finished the run when your lungs were on fire, the week you didn't quit the job that broke you, the year you rebuilt after losing everything. Store them like cookies in a jar, and when the moment comes, 3 a.m., mile 20, the meeting where they told you no, reach in and eat one. Let it remind you who you actually are underneath the doubt. The average person has hundreds of these moments and uses none of them. They keep starting from zero every single time life gets hard because they never built the jar. Winning isn't about having more talent. It's about having a deeper well of remembered proof to draw from when everything in you wants to fold. Embracing the suck. Comfort is a slow poison disguised as a reward. The moment something starts to hurt, physically, emotionally, mentally, 95% of people interpret that pain as a stop sign. It isn't. It's a checkpoint. The suck is where growth actually lives. Everything before it was just warm-up. Most people spend their whole lives designing their days around avoiding discomfort, softer chairs, easier routes, shorter conversations, safer choices, and then wonder why their life feels small. The suck is the toll booth on the road to anything worth having. You don't get to skip it, negotiate with it, or find a shortcut around it. You either pay it or you turn around. And most people turn around, which is exactly why most people stay exactly where they are. The ones who win learn to stop flinching the moment things get hard because they've trained themselves to expect it, invite it, even crave it. They understand that the suck isn't happening. TO them. It's happening FOR them. Sanding down the soft parts, building the calluses that will carry them through the next harder suck. Once you stop fearing discomfort and start hunting for it on purpose, you've already separated yourself from 95% of the world still waiting for life to feel easy before they start trying. The 40% rule. When your mind screams that you're done, that you have nothing left, that the tank is empty, you are lying to yourself and you know it. Research and lived experience both point to the same brutal truth. When the brain declares, "I quit," the body has usually only tapped 40% of its actual capacity. The other 60% is locked behind a door your mind slams shut to protect you from suffering. Not because you're actually finished. This is the great deception every human faces daily, mistaking mental discomfort for physical or actual limitation. The people who win aren't tapping into some genetic gift. They've simply learned to distrust that first wave of, "I can't." They've trained themselves to treat that voice as data, not command. When it says stop, they ask one question. Is this really the end? Or is this just the mind trying to protect me from something I can actually survive? Almost always, it's the second one. This isn't about recklessness. It's about recognizing that your ceiling is almost never where your mind first tells you it is. Every time you push past that first wall and don't die, you rewire the equation slightly. The next wall gets a little easier to see through. This is how ordinary people build extraordinary reservoirs. Not by having more, but by refusing to stop at the first lie their mind tells them. The accountability mirror. There is one relationship most people spend their entire lives avoiding. The one with the person staring back at them in the mirror. It's easy to lie to friends. It's easy to lie to family. It's almost effortless to lie to strangers on the internet. But the mirror doesn't accept excuses. It doesn't care about your bad childhood, your bad luck, or your bad day. Every morning is a choice. Look yourself dead in the eye and tell the truth about what you did or didn't do, or look away and let another day of self-deception slide by. Most people choose to look away because the truth is heavier than the lie. But winners have made peace with a brutal habit, standing in front of that mirror and asking without mercy, did I do the work today or did I make excuses? This single habit, repeated daily, becomes the foundation of everything else. You cannot outperform a person who refuses to lie to themselves. External accountability, bosses, coaches, deadlines, all disappear eventually. The mirror is the only witness that never leaves. Build a relationship with brutal self-honesty, and you build the one tool no opponent, no circumstance, and no excuse can ever take away from you. It becomes armor. It becomes weapon. It becomes the difference between a life of comfortable lies and one of uncomfortable truth. And only one of those leads anywhere worth going, losing the mind. Just as skin toughens under repeated friction, the mind toughens under repeated suffering. But only if you let it. Most people avoid the friction entirely, which keeps their mind soft, reactive, and easily shattered by the first real obstacle life throws at them. Mental toughness isn't a personality trait some people are born with. It's a callus, built the exact same way physical calluses are built, through repeated, deliberate exposure to friction you don't run from. Every time you choose the hard conversation over the easy silence, every time you finish what your body begged you to abandon, every time you sit with discomfort instead of numbing it away, you're laying down another microscopic layer of toughness. This is why the people who seem unbreakable usually have the messiest, hardest stories. Their calluses were forced onto them by circumstance, and they used the friction instead of resenting it. But you don't need tragedy to build this. You can choose your own friction, cold showers, hard workouts, difficult goals, uncomfortable honesty, and callous your mind on purpose, deliberately, before life forces it on you without warning. The goal isn't to feel less pain. The goal is to increase your capacity to function while in pain. That is the entire definition of mental toughness, and it's available to absolutely anyone willing to stop avoiding friction and start seeking it out on their own terms. Winning the 4 a.m. war. Nobody is watching at 4 a.m. No crowd, no cameras, no applause, no one to impress, and no one to disappoint but yourself. This is exactly why 4 a.m. is where winning is actually decided. Long before the scoreboard, the interview, or the finish line ever exists. Anyone can perform when eyes are on them. Discipline is what you do when literally no one would know if you quit. The person who gets up when the alarm goes off in pitch darkness, when the bed is warm and the excuse is right there waiting, is building something invisible but massive. A private reputation with themselves that no public failure can later destroy. This is the war most people never even show up to fight, because it offers no immediate reward, no recognition, no proof to show anyone else. But it is precisely this invisible war that manufactures the visible results everyone later calls talent or luck. Every public victory you've ever admired in anyone was built during thousands of private, unglamorous, unwitnessed hours where quitting was not just possible. It was easy, safe, and completely undetectable. Winning when everyone else quits has almost nothing to do with the moments people see. It has everything to do with what you do in the moments they don't. Master the 4 a.m. war, and every other war becomes easier by comparison. What if the difference between the person who wins and the person who quits was never talent, was never luck, was never even the mountain in front of them, but was decided in a moment absolutely nobody else was watching? Right now, somewhere in this world, two people are staring at the exact same obstacle. Same deadline, same injury, same failure, same 4 a.m. alarm clock screaming into a dark room. One of them rolls over. One of them gets up. And that single decision, repeated 1,000 times in 1,000 ordinary moments, is the entire difference between the life you're dreaming about and the life you're actually living. You want to know the real secret? There isn't one secret. There's a jar. A cookie jar full of every hard thing you already survived and immediately forgot about. The day you thought you couldn't take one more step and took it anyway. The season everything fell apart and you rebuilt from nothing. You've got proof stacked up your entire life. And most people let it rot instead of using it as fuel the next time the walls close in. And when the pain hits, because it will hit, you have two choices. Either you treat that pain like a stop sign or you treat it like a checkpoint. 95% of people treat it like a stop sign. They hear their mind scream, "I'm done," and they believe it completely, instantly, without question. But your mind lies to you. It quits at 40% capacity every single time, lying straight to your face, telling you the tank is empty when there's still 60% left that you've never even touched. The gap between where you stop and where you could actually go is the entire story of every person who ever did something extraordinary. So how do you close that gap? You start with the mirror. Not the mirror that checks your hair, the one that checks your soul. Stand in front of it and ask yourself, with zero mercy, did I do the work today or did I make excuses? That mirror doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care that you're tired, that life is unfair, that nobody helped you. It only cares about the truth. And the day you stop lying to that mirror is the day you become someone even you can't recognize. Someone dangerous, someone unstoppable. This is how you build calluses on your mind, the same way you build them on your hands. Friction, repeated, on purpose, until what used to break you doesn't even register anymore. You don't wait for life to hand you hardship. You go find it. You choose the cold. You choose the hard conversation. You choose the extra rep when your body is begging you to stop. Because every single time you do that, you're not just finishing a workout. You're rewriting who you are underneath all the comfort you used to hide behind. And none of this, none of it, happens in front of a crowd. It happens at 4 a.m., alone, in silence, when literally no one on this planet would know if you gave up. That is the real war. That is where winning actually gets decided. Every trophy, every title, every finish line you've ever admired was built in 1,000 invisible hours where quitting was easy, safe, and nobody would have ever known. So what if today, right now, you stopped waiting for motivation to knock on your door? What if you opened that cookie jar, looked in that mirror, told yourself the truth, and went and found the suck on purpose?